All right, folks, unhappy Wednesday. Coming to you live once again from our humble abode. This is the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio and part of the Green Legion Radio family. Thank you, as always, for joining us from wherever you may be and whatever device you're using to stream us on YouTube. So please pull up a chair, turn up the volume if I'm not loud enough for you. Crack open a cold one if that's your thing on a Wednesday night. Use the company dime if, God forbid, you're still stuck at work at this time. And let's try to have some fun as we put an end to day 3 of this week's hostage situation and look forward to tomorrow being Friday Eve. Lou Mancini, what's up, brother? How's everyone doing? It is beautiful here too, man. I'll be honest with you, outside of a couple of days of rain last week or whatever, it has been absolutely gorgeous here for, I don't know, it feels like a month. Where the humidity's been down, the temperature has stayed up. It's been sunny. It's been nice. We really enjoyed it here. So yeah, I get it. Keenan Harbin in the room. Y'all done woke me up. Guys, let me know if I sound strange. It sounds weird in my earbuds for some reason. I don't know why. So if I sound off or if it sounds echoey or something, let me know and I'll switch headsets. I don't know if that will have anything to do with it, but just sounds a little bit different tonight. Anyways, plenty to talk about tonight as far as it goes to the birds. Real quick, touch base real quick on baseball. I don't want to take too much of that because we are going to try to get another Heart of the Order show done tomorrow night. Yankees drop a terrible one last night. 1-0 lead going to the 7th. And then Luke Weaver blows it. You're not going to score a whole lot of runs. You're not going to win a whole lot of games scoring only one run. Go ahead and load the bases in the bottom of the 9th with nobody out and get nothing off of Roldis Chapman, who is notorious in big pressure playoff spots for having a hard time. And he just couldn't get it off. It just didn't happen. So hats off to the Red Sox, as much as it makes me want to puke to say that. Garrett Crochet was an absolute maniac last night. He seemed to get stronger the more pitches he threw, whereas Max Fried really didn't. He seemed to fade as as the game went on. Keenan, you're telling me to switch. What's the what does it sound like? What's the issue? Give me some feedback here, because it does sound like I don't know. I can't quite describe it. It's a little strange here. So if it sounds weird to you guys, I don't want that, and we'll get that corrected. But just give me some feedback on that before I make that switch. This is more comfortable, but sound is obviously more important. So so you're just fucking with me. Appreciate it, brother. Always appreciate the support. But yeah, so the Yankees drop a shitty one last night. So now it's win or go home tonight with Carlos Rodon on the mound against Bello for the Red Sox. We'll see. That is the reason for the 5 o'clock start tonight, so that I can get out of here for first pitch at 6 or 6:10 or whatever the hell kind of stupid start time. You good to go? All right, kid's getting himself lined up with a job. Liam will start working at McDonald's here in the next week or so. So good stuff there. The rest of baseball, it looks like so Cleveland responded well today, which we expected. They forced a game 3 tomorrow night. San Diego is on their way to doing the same thing. And then late tonight, unfortunately, this is probably the swan song for the 2025 Cincinnati Reds. We were telling you, that hopeful, but, the Reds needed to win game 1 last night and they got smushed. So that didn't happen. And I just don't see it like that. They just don't have enough to get past that Dodgers team. So unfortunately for you Phils fans, looks like you're going to be taking on the Dodgers come this weekend. Saturday will be your first game. We'll keep an eye on that. Right now, the Padres at the bottom of the 6th in Chicago, lead the Cubs 3-0. If San Diego can hold on to that lead, they will go to Game 3 tomorrow night as well. And of course, I am obviously hoping that the Yankees can force the same thing starting in about an hour from now. So here's a quick baseball update. We are going to try, Chris Sack, Lou Dominguez, and I are going to try to do a Heart of the Order show tomorrow night. We were going to do it Friday night. My dumbass, I completely spaced and forgot that Michelle and I have a wedding to go to in downtown Cincinnati on Friday night. Now, it's pretty casual. The ceremony's at 5:30. And, being that I have to drive down there and back, it's a good half an hour for me to get to downtown from here. So half an hour to 40 minutes back, whatever. Given that I have to drive, I won't be drinking. So my wife will throw a few back and then we'll come back home. But there's not going to be, it is a casual thing. We won't be there late, but there's really no way for me to do a show on Friday night, unfortunately. So I told the fellas that I was available tomorrow night. Chris said it looked like he was good. We're just going to follow up with Lou. All right, got to make sure everybody's available. So that's a quick baseball update. What are you guys talking about over here? Keenan, my man Liam, I'll take a large fish fillet meal to Dr. Pepper. Lou Mancini, Liam working at McDonald's makes me think of Louis Anderson and Coming to America. Jeez. Let's get down to the business end real quick here. Michelle is not home from work yet, so she doesn't get to hear her favorite part. And that is that we are proudly sponsored by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Just minutes away from the sports complex, Cheerleaders brings you the area's most beautiful women on 5 different stages. Open 7 days a week from noon until 2 a.m. and until 4 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. For group information, call 215-467-1980 to reserve a private booth and or party package. Also offering free parking, a full menu, daily drink and food specials, and a premium selection of cigars and a cigar lounge. If you can't get out to the bank, oh, there's Michelle. She can hear me. She's on her way home, I guess. Hi, honey. Anyways, if you are, if you can't get out to the bank for the playoffs, you can't get over to the link without selling a kidney, and you still want to head out and catch your favorite sporting event, head on over to Cheerleaders and enjoy the 75-foot HD TV wall, as well as HD TV screens throughout the entire club. Once again, folks, that is Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Call 215-467-1980 for all of your group and party information. As always, folks, scrolling at the bottom of the screen whenever we are live here through StreamYard, greenlegion.com. If you are a fan and you want to get out on the road to catch a Birds game, there is no better way than with the Green Legion. Head on over to greenlegion.com, click on trips and tailgates, go to away games, away trips, find the one that you want to go on. If it doesn't say sold out, buy away. Go for it. Just get signed up. If you're local to the Philadelphia area and the flights haven't been sold out yet, there will be flight options for you to purchase as well. If you are not local to the Philadelphia area, obviously you're self-travel, like I do. But your hotel accommodations, your game tickets, your pep rally the night before, your 4-hour Green Legion tailgate prior to kickoff, all available at greenlegion.com. If you were looking for a way to come out and hang out with myself and my wife, in 2 weeks from Friday, I will be flying to Minneapolis. I will be there in attendance at US Bank Stadium for the Birds versus Vikings. Kind of hoping Carson Wentz is still wearing that purple uniform that afternoon, but we'll have to wait and see. That would be one opportunity to come hang out with UnHappy Gilmore. If you'd like to hang out with my wife and I, we will be in Dallas the weekend before Thanksgiving for that Green Legion trip as well. Come on out, have a beer, have some laughs, and enjoy the birds on the road with the best damn way to do it. Green Legion is the best in the business. And it's not just road trips either, folks. If you are in Philadelphia area, living there, visiting there, going in for a game and looking for a tailgate, greenlegion.com, trips and tailgates. Click on home tailgates. Find the one you want. If it does not say sold out, let it fly. That is your 4-hour extravaganza at 1100 Social Xfinity Live right outside of Lincoln Financial Field. All you can eat, all you can drink, and the now simulcast streaming on Fox 29 Green Legion Fox Sports pregame show with the normal cast of characters there. You cannot go wrong whether you're on the road or in Philadelphia. Greenlegion.com, the best in the business. Don't hesitate to purchase. These things sell out quick if they haven't already. He who hesitates, you all know the end of that one. All right, there's the end of your business end of things. Sam, hey Sam, how you doing? She says, yo. So I teased the show earlier and put it up in our Midwest Eagles Nest group. I am wearing one of our shirts. And of course, our good friend Fanny comments and says, "So now you're telling me I have to text and drive." And so Samantha right away said, "No, don't do that." And of course, I chime in saying I don't condone it. So we don't know if we'll hear from Fanny, at least not right away. I hope she does not do that while she's driving. That would be, yeah, I definitely do not condone that. Deb in the room. What's up, brother? Happy birthday to this young man here. Nice new addition to our group from last year, coming out and hanging with us again this season where he can. It's not a short trip for him, so he comes out when he can, brings a lot of good energy. Always happy to see you. Hope your birthday's going well. Hope the upcoming weekend is kick-ass as well, brother. Gonna be a good time. Keenan Harmon, if the home tailgate is sold out, I highly recommend jumping the fence and giving security something to do. Okay, so Keenan may endorse that, but I can tell you I do not. Oh boy, what am I going to do with you guys? Okay, so let's get right down to it. As I teased with the show, it was another afternoon full of cardiac arrest, another tale of two halves, still another victory, but still leaving us plenty to talk about as far as this team. An excellent first half. And look, I'm like, finally, we're going to put all this together in Tampa. We can't stand the Buccaneers, right? You want to, when you have to go to Tampa, you just want to stomp that team into the ground after all the crap we've been through with them over the years. Not the least of which is 3 straight seasons being scheduled there in September when it's sweltering hot during hurricane season, pain in the ass. Those of you that were there this past Sunday for the Midwest Eagles Nest event, you heard my rant at the beginning before the game started. So it starts out well, and we're flying, right? Block punt, scoop and score on that. Excellent. It's another special teams touchdown. Love it. Offense looks great. Saquon's still struggling, but they're taking him away. They really do not. We haven't faced a defense yet that is saying, okay, we're going to back off. And that's because the pass game has just been inconsistent. And I really thought that we were on our way in that first half. Jalen Hurts looked amazing. Okay. He was absolutely amazing. Despite the fact that we weren't really able to get AJ Brown involved, we were still moving the ball at will. Twice in that game, we were up by 18 points. The fact that it got that close at the end was way more than I was equipped to handle on Sunday afternoon, especially not drinking because I had to rush home afterwards and get ready to do Heart of the Order. But, and this is the constant question, right? Who's the culprit? Is it Sirianni or Patullo? I'm not so sure it's not both. All right. And I'll tell you why. So Patullo has been working on this staff since Nick Sirianni took over as head coach. Okay. So there's going to be a touch of Sirianni in his game plan no matter what. I'm not so sure that we don't have a situation where I'm starting to get a little concerned that this is another Brian Johnson situation waiting to happen. Um, Now, look, I don't want to overreact here. Okay, we're not going to have an overreaction Wednesday. All right, it is just 4 weeks into the season. Keep in mind the opponents we've had to play. I understand Dallas stinks, but that was first game of the season. Nobody played in the preseason. It is a division rivalry game at home. You're raising the banner right in their face, so they're going to be pissed off about it. Okay, look, we got through it, won the game. Good, great, got it, fine. Then we had to go to Kansas City, right? Kansas City's defense is really good. Then we had to come home and play the Rams, another solid team. Then we had to go on the road at Tampa. Notoriously, we do not, historically, we just do not do well there. So the schedule starts off very rough. Then there's a bit of a lull in the middle, and then it finishes really rough as well. Denver coming in this weekend, we'll get to that. But the first 4 games have been tough, so I don't want to go crazy here, especially if you look at things year over year. All right. So you take last year and our first 4 games. Well, let's go further than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go our first 5 games. So opening night in Brazil against the Packers. We outlast them 34-29. All right. 34 points. Great night. Got it. The next 4 games, we score 21, 15, 16, and 20. Then we're at the Giants, score 28, and things got off and rolling from there. But those first, games 2 through 5 last year were a lot like what you're seeing now. And so it is possible that this is just the team trying to get into the groove of a new offense yet again. When you look at Jalen Hurts, it's 8 different offensive coordinators in 9 years. When you go back to college, it's 9 different play callers year over year. I am concerned that Patullo's offense has too much of Sirianni's thumbprint on it. I am concerned that Nick is calling a bunch of these plays. We've all seen how that goes. But I'm also willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. And let's let the season start to breathe a little bit more. Despite the early struggles, despite the tough schedule to start off with, we're still 4-0. Okay? Now, I know, 2024 or 2023 started out that way, and then the wheels came off the bus. I don't see that happening again. There are other issues that we're going to address here tonight that are, I think, right now are a bigger concern. All right. But sticking with the offensive end of things, and Lou kind of kicked it into play here. Yeah, you're not overreacting. You're being real. It's true. I do believe there's cause for at least some cause for concern, but I don't want to go crazy here because it is early. And we've seen this before. Right? Beginning of 2023, we were winning games, and I don't think it looked all that great either. Let me go back to 2023. The offense was much better to start the year that year. Look, I'll just go to last season, and like I said, score 34 on opening night, and then it's 21 against Atlanta, who had a bad defense. It's 15 against New Orleans at New Orleans. New Orleans is not very good. 16 in Tampa, albeit without A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith to start the game, and then we lost some offensive linemen that day too. But then you come out of it, and you're home against Cleveland, and you only put up 20 and barely win that game. So it took some time to get rolling last year too. I know it's a different season, and I don't want to make it sound like we're just generalizing here. But it is possible that these guys just need some time to get really off and rolling offensively. What we saw in the second half against the Rams and the first half against Tampa is more of what we need to see. In particular, that second half against the Rams, though, because that is where we were able to get A.J. Brown involved. Now, some of that has to do with the defensive matchup, though. They don't really have a guy. Now, look, AJ's a matchup nightmare no matter what. He's 6'1", he's 230 pounds, he runs incredibly well. His routes are solid. He doesn't run as crisp of route as Devontae does, as Smitty does. But AJ does a good job. Tampa, a little bit bigger on the corner. What I did not like most of all from this season, from this past Sunday, was Jalen Hurts. He was forcing the ball to AJ. And I'm not even trying to say that was Jalen giving in to AJ complaining, or was it more Jalen recognizing, I have got to get this guy involved, okay? He is our number one wide receiver, and we've got to get him involved. Beyond that, Jalen, the second half was a huge contrast to the first. He was over 8 and was flatlined in the second half. I'm going to say it now, and I know it's not on the injury report. I'm not so sure his bell didn't get rung because there was a noticeable difference in Jalen Hurts before he took that hit to after. And that was cheap. It was dirty. The fact that they picked up that flag was bullshit. The dude stuck his elbow right into Jalen's head, and they didn't call it. They threw the flag and then picked it up. And that pissed them. That pissed all of us off. We were pissed. Lou, what do you got over here? Not playing or practicing much doesn't help either. I'm hoping it's mostly that and things start clicking because my heart can't take this shit. Right. It's an afternoon full of cardiac arrest every time these boys take the field. So look, offensively, they've got things to fix. Now, ever since Lane Johnson has been a stalwart at that right tackle position, anytime he has been out, we struggle. And he was out a bunch of the game on Sunday. He had the stinger the week before. It looked like he re-aggravated things on Sunday. He was very uncomfortable sitting on the stage. He wasn't in the tent, but you can see how uncomfortable he was sitting there. I am concerned there. I like Fred Johnson. And if Lane has to miss time, a week or two or whatever, then I think Fred needs to be that guy. I think we saw it against the Rams. They came out, Lane had to go out. They put Pryor out there instead of Fred. Things were frantic. They bring Fred in, and it seemed to calm down the offensive line. Fred would be my guy at right tackle if Lane can't go. Or, even if he's got a split time during a game, Fred would be easily be my number one backup to Lane. So the offense has things to fix, okay? And they're going to need to fix it. Like, you take a look at the schedule coming up here, okay? We got through the first 4 with victories, okay? Despite not playing consistently well on the offensive side of the ball. Now we're going to come home for Denver, who is strong defensively. I'm not completely sold on their offense. I know they just lit up. Well, and that's a little loaded. They had 512 yards of total offense against the Bengals, who have a notoriously horrible defense, but they only put up 28 points. In contrast, you think if the Birds think about our team, if we had 512 yards of offense, we're probably scoring 40 to 50 points. So, I don't know what to really make of Denver's offense. Their defense is solid, but we are way more talented than them. Then we're at the Giants, at Minnesota, and home for the Giants. Okay, those are the next 5 games or 4 games. Home for Denver, at the Giants, at Minnesota, home for the Giants. It feels like 4 more victories before we go into that Monday night game at Green Bay. When things start to ramp up a little bit again. Then we're at Green Bay, home for Detroit, at Dallas. Dallas thinks I get it, but again, division game. Now it'll be in their house. They'll be pissed. Home for Chicago on Black Friday. I still don't give Caleb Williams and his fancy boys a snowball's chance in hell. But then we got to go to the Chargers. That won't be easy. Home for Vegas should be a little easier, but then it's at Washington, at Buffalo, home for Washington to finish it up. So like I said, it starts rough. Now we hit this patch here where you can make some hay, try to get into a groove. This offense needs to figure it out over these next 4 games. What is working? We have to get a consistent passing game going so that we can get Saquon Barkley going. Okay? Defenses right now are showing zero respect to our pass game. They are just saying Saquon is not going to beat us. And be damned if Jalen does. We've been inconsistent on the offensive side, mostly because we've been unbalanced. And we're allowing teams to play ultra aggressive against us. And we got to start pushing back. And the way you're going to be able to do that is to soften them up with that pass game. I was really looking forward to that second half against Tampa, thinking we were going to be able to do that. And then, of course, 2 broken plays, right? 77 yards to Ibuka, 72 yards to Bucky Irving, and Baker proving why he is a top 10 quarterback in this league. He's tough. He's gritty. He knows how to lead his guys. Kid can come back from almost any deficit, and he almost did it again. That's the offensive side of things, okay? Now we're going to shift gears to the other side of the ball. And this right now is where I am starting to get a little bit more concerned. Not so much with the play, but number one, with the injuries, okay? We are not generating much pressure on the edge. And that position has thinned out again, all right? They just opened the 21-day window on the Kobe Dean. We need Dean to accelerate through that process and get his ass back on the field so that Dean can slide in next to Bond and Jihad Campbell can help us on the edge. He played well on the edge in his opportunities this past Sunday. He had the fumble, the interception in the end zone, and coverage as well. I think Jihad Campbell is set to do big things. I know he was a little banged up to start to end the game there, but he was practicing today. So was Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is still nursing a shoulder injury that he hurt during the summer. And I'm not so sure that that's going to get better throughout the year. We've still got 5 games before we hit our bye week. So, or I'm sorry, 4 games before we get to our bye week. Now, granted, they are easier, but it's still 4 games, and we need Carter out there. All right. Hats off to Quinion Mitchell. Huge game on Sunday. Defensive Player of the Week for the NFC. Excellent. Keenan. So, we did end up getting to Baker a little bit late, but for most of the game, we just couldn't quite finish. You're getting pressures, but you're not getting home. And, all the pressures in the world are great, but you've got to get home and you've got to smack him on his head, especially a guy like Baker Mayfield, who is about as tough as they come as a quarterback. You have got to knock him down, knock him on his ass, and try to rattle him. He's not easily rattled, but if you're consistently in his face and knocking him down, any quarterback's going to get rattled. And I just expect more out of this. And it's not happening yet. We're not finishing it. Which is going to bring me to now, look, the CB2 spot we talked about all during the offseason, and now we're talking about it again here through week 4. It's still an issue. Keely Ringo, his grade was pretty good, but man, he had some botched fucking plays there too, and he cannot tackle. Anytime he's out in open space with a ball carrier, he gets flat-footed and he gets dogged. It's not good. Hello, dear. So we still got to figure out the CB2 spot. I don't want to put Cooper there. I love Cooper in the role that he's in. The slot corner, kind of shifty to slot corner / safety kind of hybrid thing. And there's one kid who does not get beat on tackles, or if he does, it's very, very seldom. The bigger issue I have with our defense, and I'm going to pull this up for you here. So, youngest defense in the league. And here's what we started this past Sunday. Zach Bond, 28 years old, is the oldest guy on the defense. Reed Blankenship at 26 is next. Quinion Mitchell, Moro Ojimo, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Jalix Hunt are all 24. Nolan Smith, Keely Ringo, both 23. Makuba, Cooper, both 22. And Jihad Campbell's 21. It's a great thing. Okay? To be that young. We all know that most of the money being spent on our team is on the offensive side of the ball, right? Mailata, Dickerson, Jurgens, Jalen, Saquon, AJ, Smitty, Goddard, right? We know. The only way we're able to do that is because our defense is this young and talented. Some of the problem we're having here, and Lou, no, I'm not going to do Boner of the Week this week, but you are about to get a bit of a rant here. The lack of discipline on the defensive side of the ball. Look, they're playing well, and I don't want to take away from that. But the lack of discipline, the stupid penalties, right out of the gates. You are 6 seconds into your season, and Jalen Carter gets thrown out of the game. Here we were Sunday, and Cooper gets flagged for stepping over a guy. Now, look, I understand that seems tedious, but it is a rule, and that one in particular is not new, okay? That's one they've been focusing on for a little bit now. They will throw that flag if you step over a guy like that. You cannot do the Allen Iverson thing. You just can't. Quinion Mitchell getting flagged. We gave Tampa in the first half, and thankfully it didn't amount to a hill of beans, but we gave Tampa on that one drive 30 yards in personal foul penalties. We had 8 penalties for 80 yards on Sunday. A lot of that is on the the lion's share on the defensive side. So I think we ended up with a couple. I think we had 2 roughing the passer calls, both of which were a little shitty. But you can't. That's the other thing is the discipline to get your hand away from the quarterback, away from his face. Both times, I get it. It feels ticky-tack, but you can't hit him in the head. You can't touch his face. You can't touch his helmet at all, and you have to know that. You cannot complain about it after the fact. They've been throwing that flag for years now. You come in, and yes, you're taught to get your arms up. When that quarterback talks back, you're taught to get your arms up. But you've got to know you can't follow through into his head. We did that twice on Sunday. Twice or 3 times. It is an undisciplined look. It's not good, okay? Now, you got Vic Fangio, who I'm a little surprised that the defense under his tutelage is behaving this way, albeit very young. I understand. But I've also got 2 captains on the defense in 28-year-old Zach Bond and 26-year-old Reed Blankenship, who has been an Eagle his career. Where are my captains when Quinion Mitchell is trying to pick a fight with an offensive lineman? Where are my captains when Baker Mayfield is trying to bait Quinion into doing this shit? These other teams know it. They know they're not as talented as us. So what are they doing? They're trying to bait us into making stupid decisions. And we're taking the bait. And it's fucking obnoxious. I don't care if you're 21, 28, 41, whatever. You cannot allow yourself to be baited into that shit. Now, I understand it's very easy for me to sit here in this chair as an armchair quarterback guy and say these things. I'm not out there on the field. I'm not dealing, I'm not in the heat of the moment, all that intensity, how hyped up these guys are to go out there and play ball. I totally understand that. But again, you were Bond, Blankenship, you were named captains for a reason, not the least of which is the fact that you are the two oldest guys on that starting defense. You have got to start doing your job. And Fangio, I know you're up in the booth. I understand that's where you prefer to be so you can see the entire field. But if this kind of crap continues to happen, you're probably going to have to take your old ass down to that sideline and start grabbing face masks. Because this shit has to stop. Jalen Carter is the linchpin of our defense. 6 seconds into the season, Dak Prescott knows that the Eagles are better than the Cowboys. The whole free world knew that the Eagles were better than the Cowboys. Why do you let? So here comes Dak, spits down at the ground. Now, don't get me wrong. It was at Carter's direction, down at his feet, but he spit and then looked right, and he saw that Carter was reacting, and you could see the look on Dak's face. He knew he had him. And what does Carter do without missing a beat? Dak Tua. What are you thinking? 6 seconds into the game, our most important defensive player is out. So now, not only did he not play the preseason, he was nursing a shoulder injury, but now he's going to miss game 1 as well. So it's just even more reps that have to take place before he gets himself going. You can't continue to do this kind of shit. Quinion Mitchell, look, I love the fire. I love the passion. Even the statement afterwards, I'm not backing down from anybody. Got it. Don't let Baker Mayfield's punk ass come over and talk shit to you and have you freak out and act like a lunatic. You cannot behave this way. I don't give a shit what your age is. That has to clean up. Apart from that, the defense and the special teams have been really, really strong. I mean, look, you take that Rams game where our offense was doing absolutely nothing in that first half. The fact that it was only 19-7 at halftime is a testament to that defense. This past Sunday against Tampa, offense, again, goes into the crapper. Defense being left out there, hanging out to dry in 105-degree heat. And they still found ways to step up and make plays to help seal that victory. So the talent is there. These kids are freaking awesome. And I love the passion and fire. But you cannot allow yourself to be baited into making shit decisions, putting teams that are inferior to you in positions to beat you just because you're stupid, just because you're young and foolish. You cannot do that. We need the captains. First of all, these kids have to start being held accountable to it. Second of all, the captains have got to, when that shit starts, you see, if there is somebody on that team, a Baker Mayfield, a Dak Prescott, a Bo Nix this weekend, a Cortland Sutton this weekend, whatever. He's trying to come over to Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, whoever, Jalix Hunt, somebody. You see that about to happen? Bond, Blankenship, you two better be the first two over there grabbing and pulling our guys away. And then I want whoever that is on the sideline for the next play, be damned where they're at on the field or what the situation is or who it is. Keep them on that sideline, and I better see somebody up that kid's ass sideways. Stop giving them outs. Okay? Just like baseball. Don't make the errors. Don't get baited into stupid shit. Clean it up. And on the offense, you guys just need to get your shit together. All right? Consistently. I'd like to see 4 quarters of good football. Okay? Not just 1 quarter. I will tell you right now, through 4 games we've played, so 16 quarters of football, that offense has looked good for what? 4 of them? Right? Second half against the Rams, first half against Tampa. Yeah, 16 quarters of football. We've looked good for 4 of them on the offensive side. The rest of that has been a struggle. Get it together. All right. Enough rant here. What are you guys doing over here? BG for sideline coach on game day to talk to these kids. I'm all for it. Just keep in mind that BG was also notorious, one of the most notorious shit talkers on the planet. And right now, these kids need to get a little humbled. I don't really want them being taught how to talk more shit right now. Lou Mancini stared at him when he stepped over him. Don't do that. Bingo. Nail on the head, brother. You just can't do those things. Okay. They're going to throw that flag. You got to be better than that. Lou Mancini, not going to lie, but I swallowed the hook too long. Sam, thank you. Where are my captains? Bingo. They need our cap, the real cap on the sideline. Yeah. Let's get Captain Demps out there to start grabbing some face masks. I'd be all for that. Damn right. The defender. All right. So, look, some positives to take away from the first half. Pass game looked good. Looked like we were on a roll. Second half, Jalen takes that hit, and I'm not so sure that he wasn't quite feeling right, man. He was slow to get up. We were all very concerned that he was going to have to go to the blue tent. They shook that off. And I guess the ref, the ref had to have gone over and evaluated there and thought he was fine. But he looked a little off after that. He was definitely forcing it to AJ. Like I said before, I don't know if it's just because he was just forcing it there because AJ was chirping, or if it was Jalen being like, dude, he's my number one receiver. I've got to get him involved. It's vital to our offense. At this point, I trust Jalen enough to where, like, he's got it. He'll figure it out. To me, this feels much more like a scheme and play calling issue. All right. When Jalen Hurts has had 8 different offensive coordinators and 9 different play callers since the start of his collegiate career and has been successful pretty much every single season, despite all that, I have to believe this is a scheme thing, not the fault of our QB1. Now, has he been a little off here and there? Yes. His deep balls this past Sunday were not good. They sailed out of bounds, and I get it. But by and large, overall, you think about how much this offense has struggled overall. Think about where they are without Jalen Hurts. And you tell me who the MVP of the league is right now. Everybody's going to say Josh Allen. I won't argue with it. But Jalen Hurts, MVP is supposed to be most valuable player, not best player. Okay, that's not how it works. And if you took now, you can say that about a lot of quarterbacks, but this kid is something special, man. And like I said, 8 different offensive coordinators, 9 different play callers since the start of his collegiate career. And if and he's been successful all through that because of his work ethic, because of his intelligence, because of his leadership capability. I have to believe that these early season struggles are play calling and scheme and or getting used to new system. All right. I can't look at Jalen Hurts at this point and be like, it's all on him. You can't do that. Right. I don't care what your experts say. Oh, Jalen's carry, but fuck off. I'm done with all of that. I don't want to hear it anymore. No, Jalen's my guy, and that's the end of it. All right, what's up over here? Sam Haley, Gilmore for head coach. I would grab face masks. I promise you that. Dev, the flop by Baker was terrible. Yeah, hey, look, he sold it, dude. You just can't put yourself in a position to get that flag, man. I get it. It sucks, but don't do those things. And so it's like I was, when people start talking about refs, oh, well, we got bad calls. That's why we lost. No, it's not. It's because you put yourself in a position for the Zebras to have a say in the outcome. You put yourself in bad spots. You made stupid mistakes. You didn't take care of the ball. You didn't convert that 4th down. Whatever the case may be. Bad calls can be a part of it, but it's not the reason. And Baker, say what you want about him. He did what he had to do. When Jalen got hit in the head, I said, "Don't look at the ref." Keenan, does AJ still read his book? I haven't seen it, and we've been yelling that he needs inner excellence. That's for sure. Lou Dominguez, what's up, brother? How you doing? Good evening, Adam, and all in the room. Like tonight's episode, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, my friend. As always, love it. Lou Mancini, he's a smart young man, and no one with a sound mind will debate that. Very true. And then you guys are talking about cheesesteaks. For those of you, if you guys know any Miami Dolphins fans, and they, if they're whether they're in the Miami area or they're not, Lou and Ashley Dominguez have 305 Sports Travel. They also do a podcast once a week. It'll vary day to day based on their availability, but it's always a very entertaining show. 100% Miami based and a lot heavy Dolphin based. So if you've got some friends and or family that subscribe that are fish fans, I would tell you look no further than Lou from Dade and his lovely wife Ashley. They do an excellent job. And 305 Sports Travel starting to do, as of last year, starting to do some away trips for Dolphins games for folks. Kind of like a growing version of the Green Legion, only for Dolphins fans instead. So no problem plugging my brother there, man. That sounded weird. No problem giving a plug to my brother's business. Let's put it that way. All right. Let's move on to Denver. The Denver Broncos are 2-2. They have offense has been decent to shitty. I think the number one thing is their defense is going to be the issue for us, right? Lou. So I cannot do Friday. I have to go to a wedding. So I don't know if you're available tomorrow night, but I'll hit up our group text once I'm done here, and we'll try to figure it out. All right, brother. I completely spaced and it was like all excited about the baseball and stuff. But yeah, Friday night, and totally fucked up the fact that I have to be downtown by like 5:00 tomorrow on Friday night. So Thursday is going to be the day if we're going to do it, or over the weekend. But I think you guys are going to Charlotte, so we'll figure it out, brother. But the Denver Broncos. So let's take a look here. Bo Nix where is he at here? So he not quite off to the scalding start that he was, that he didn't exactly pick up this season where he left off last season. You guys have heard me say that when you looked at Bo Nix versus Jaden Daniels, by the end of last year, Jaden Daniels' numbers were better. They were. A bunch of that due to Jaden's running ability, right? Which is part of what makes that kid so talented. But they weren't that far apart, Nix versus Jaden Daniels. The biggest difference between the two was the fact that Jaden had those wow moments and was awesome right out of the gates. Then he got banged up a bit, hit a bit of a dip partway through the season. If you guys remember right, when the Eagles beat the Bengals here in Cincinnati last year, that's the day that Jaden Daniels throws that crazy Hail Mary against Chicago. If that Hail Mary doesn't happen and Chicago wins, the Eagles would have clinched the division that day, that early in the year. That's how much Washington had started to fall off. That Hail Mary kind of re-sparked them, and they got back on a roll. And then Jaden, with some more wow moments and, trajectory trending back upwards, finished with a monster rookie season. Bo Nix, on the other hand, started very slow and just gradually continued to get better throughout the season. So that by the end of the year, there was not a big difference in their numbers. Doesn't look like that's completely carried over. 4 games in, he's completing 65.7% of his passes, 861 yards, 7 touchdowns, but 4 interceptions as well. That's a little bit rough. His yards per attempt is only 6.3. Yards per game, 215. Yeah, I'm bashing him for it. Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts, his numbers don't look that great either. But so I guess what I'm saying is I'm not overly concerned with the Bronco offense versus our defense, provided they stay disciplined, like we just talked about. It is much more our struggle bus offense, our inconsistent offense versus a Denver defense that can be very, very good. The line has moved to, I think, 3.5 now. It has come down. I think some of that is due to the fact that, all these about Jalen Carter and what his availability is going to be. Lane Johnson's availability comes Sunday. We just don't know yet. Let me look up the line here. Yeah, so it's Eagles by only 3.5, and that's at home. Okay, so it's a 4-0 Super Bowl defending Super Bowl champion at home against a 2-2 Broncos team who's coming all the way out from Denver. And the line is only 3.5. And you know the rule. The Vegas rule is 3 for the home team. So what are they really telling you here? They're telling you this is that they feel like it's a coin toss. And that makes me nervous. Because Vegas is always onto something. So it's going to be a little bit the over-under at 43.5. They're not expecting a big shootout here. I'm not all that surprised considering the way our offense is sputtered. The way theirs doesn't really play that all that well to begin with, and hasn't yet this year. And both defenses being really strong. The forecast looks like 80 degrees and sunny. Should be an excellent weekend in Philly, right? You got the playoff game on Saturday. You got the Birds on Sunday. Playoffs again on Monday. It should just be fantastic. But I looked at this game starting the year, coming out of the gates. I looked at this game as, okay, we get through these first 4. If we're 3-1 or even 2-2, I looked at this game as the start of a stretch where we could make some hay. And I am still optimistic in winning this one. I'm just cautiously optimistic at this point. Denver team gets after the quarterback pretty well overall. And get to their defense here. Nick Bonito has 4.5 sacks on his own. And I think he's got 29 quarterback pressures on his own. So this kid's going to be a spaz. He's going to come off the edge. Then you have Patrick Surtain, defending Defensive Player of the Year. So this is not going to be an easy task. I will tell you, if there was going to be a game that we need to be able to unlock Saquon Barkley, this is it. All right, so we're going to have to figure out how to do that. I still think we win this game. I just think, guys, again, and I hate to say it, I have an awful feeling that this is just going to be another afternoon full of cardiac arrest. I don't know what other way to cut it. Let's see. Okay, yes, let's do tomorrow. Okay, good. So I'll shoot that text message out right after the game, right after I'm done here, and we'll get all that hashed out. Excellent. Yeah, I didn't want to miss it. I was fucking furious with myself for forgetting that Friday. Who the hell told you could come on camera? Hawaiian Punch? It's just stole Grady's shirt. Lou Mancini, I want Kelly Green back more often as well. Sometimes these alternates catch my eye. Okay, so Kelly Green games, all 3 of them are against division opponents. All right. So we are going to wear Kelly Green at home against the Giants. Let me get back to our schedule here because I went to the stupid Broncos. Yeah, so on October 26th against the Giants, we will wear Kelly Green. We will wear Kelly Green. It looks like, I think, the last week of the year against Washington. The other one is at Dallas. That's a Kelly Green game on the road, which is pretty cool. I guess I would prefer it if it was just the home games, but hey, I'm going to that one, so now I'm just going to pack nothing but Kelly Green. Yeah, game day jersey, everything. So that weekend, my Saturday jersey will be my split Saquon one. So half of it is the blue for Penn State. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I can't because we're playing Dallas. Yeah, I might not be able to do that. I don't know. I'll think about it. But I've got a shit ton of Kelly Green jerseys that I'm looking forward to. I've actually got my Saquon Barkley one. It's black, but the numbers and everything are Kelly Green. That one is sick. Love that jersey. Keenan, I'm wearing Kelly Green in Dallas. Nice. I will be doing the same. Just haven't decided which one yet, which way I'm going to go. Definitely packing a bunch, though. So I have options in my little suitcase that I can fit an obnoxious amount of shit into. All right, so that's your Birds kind of recap from this past weekend, and looking at this coming weekend. I do expect to win the game, folks. I am a little concerned that this is going to be another difficult afternoon. Bottom of the ninth in Chicago, the Padres still lead the Cubs 3-0. As I said before earlier today, we had the Detroit fell to Cleveland at the Jake 6-1. Yankees will get going in about 10 minutes here, trying to stave off elimination against the Red Sox in the Bronx. Of course, at 9 o'clock tonight, it's probably the swan song for the 2025 Cincinnati Reds. So, let's give you a quick couple of games here for the college football slate, and then we're going to get out of here for the night so I can get on to my baseball game. Again, Thursday and Friday, not much to write home about. Yeah, even that West Virginia at BYU is kind of shit. David Lowe, what's up, brother? Coming in just under the wire. Lou Mancini. My gem is my Bednarik jersey. That one's on my radar to get at some point. But we're going to move to Saturday here. Looks like the 12 o'clock window is a little weak. So number 22, Illinois at Purdue, only by 9.5. We'll probably check that one out. UC. So the Bearcats are home against number 14, Iowa State. And the Bearcats are giving 1.5 points. So that will definitely be on. Michigan 17.5. That's really kind of your 12 o'clock window. It's not till we get a little bit later. Yeah, so the 3:30 window again. So number 16, Vanderbilt. That's a high rank for a Vanderbilt team. It's going to travel to Tuscaloosa to take on number 10, Alabama, coming off that big win at Georgia last week, and they moved all the way up from 17 to 10. Bama by 10.5, over under at 56.5. I would probably take Bama and lay the points on that one. Boise State at Notre Dame, though. What else is going on? There's not a whole hell of a lot going on here. Texas Tech at Houston. Texas Tech 11th in the country, only given 10.5 on the road at Houston. That could be interesting. Ohio State will flatten Minnesota. Then you move to the 7:30 window, folks. You got number 3, Miami Hurricanes. Lou from Dade. At number 18, Florida State Seminoles. You got Miami on the road giving 4.5, over under at 53.5. That is 7:30 on ABC. Definitely be looking forward to that one. The games this weekend, it's a drop off from last weekend. Last weekend we had a great bunch of matchups. Once that 3:30 window came, it was gangbusters through the rest of the night. I will not talk about the Penn State game. I am not discussing that fucking team anymore until James Franklin is fired. I will still watch my team. I will still root for them. I will still do all of those things, but I'm not going to come on here and talk about Penn State until they give me a reason to. Go beat Ohio State. Let's do that, and then I'll talk about you. Until then, you just screwed the pooch again this past weekend. You pissed me off. So fuck you, James Franklin. Fuck you, Drew Aller. There you go. But so I mean, there's enough here to get you through the Saturday. You got at least one in every window that'll be worth kicking on the TV. It'll be a little bit of a struggle outside of that, though. Not seeing a whole lot in the way of, and then we'll look for upset alerts. I think our buddy Josh is going to come back over again this Saturday, so we'll look for some upsets mixed in with some of these other games, and we will go from there. So I don't have a time for you yet, but it will be. It looks like it will be tomorrow night. Heart of the Order, another playoff edition. Chris Sack, Lou Dominguez, and yours truly. Hopefully, I'm hoping the Yankees are playing ball tomorrow night. In which case, we'll be doing that show during that game, so you'll see me frantic, which will be hysterical for all of you. If for some reason, we'll see. We'll just see how everything plays out. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to jinx anything. But yeah, tomorrow night, I would guess 7:30 start time, somewhere in that area. We will do Heart of the Order. We'll talk about, what's transpired to that point, who's moving on, um, what game threes we still have to deal with at that point, if there are any. And yeah, we'll just go from there. But we're gonna wrap things up here for now. So I thank you all for joining us this evening. As always, that hour just flies right by. You guys, great content in the room here. Always appreciate it. Always appreciate the you guys coming and hanging out, spending some time with me on a Wednesday night. Hopefully, we're entertaining enough for you to fill an hour of your evening. But with that said, this has been the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio, part of the Green Legion Radio family, and proudly sponsored by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Call 215-467-1980 for all of your group and party information. Folks, get through the rest of your week. Get on to that weekend. Have a good time. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Remember that Judge is not back in until Monday. And as always, folks, go Birds. All right, kids, that's it. Take care. We love you. Go Birds.